as we take you right up until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Carton Roberts comes your way then. You just heard Recco mention it during the top of the hour update, and we'll get into Thor and some of the other layers to the Thor decision yesterday to get signed with the Angels, pass that physical, get officially introduced via Twitter and social media last night by the Angels here in just a second. But, Samini comes out here and give him a lot of credit because I was telling Hoffman, our producer, right before the show, monitor what Salah has to say 11:35 this morning, about 90 minutes from now, about who exactly is going to start against the Miami Dolphins. You mean to tell me the Jets are going to roll Joe Flacco out there against the Miami Dolphins after everything with Mike White for a week and a half? I mean, I've got to see Joe Flacco because he can understand blitz packages better against the Miami Dolphins. That's what you're doing if you're the Jet coaching staff. Mind you, wasn't it Robert Saleh who basically wagged the finger at people who hopped off the bandwagon of Mike White after the performance against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday? So I'm going to read into it, and it's amazing. Like, you look at, what are the Jets doing down in Florham Park? What do you do all week long to get your team ready, set, prepared to go? You give up a 6th-round pick. Let's go through it. Calendar of events. Wilson gets hurt. They trade for Flacco from the Philadelphia Eagles, give up a 6th-round pick, and can become a 5 against, can become a 5 based on playing time. He doesn't have time to prepare to get set to take out the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike White goes out there dumping and dumping the ball off left and right. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals. The Mike White era begins. Jet fans going crazy. They think they're, it's the modern day Kurt Warner or it's Tom Brady once again here in New York. Why can't the Jet fan have good things? Everything that Evan was saying, run around wearing his Mo Lewis jersey, right? What did you expect going up against the Buffalo Bills? Yeah, I told you last week, and this is not I told you so or, hey, look, Moose got one right. No, there's nothing to do with that. Look, here's the scenario. You went up against a Bills team that lost the previous week on the road as a double-digit favorite against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were ticked off. They were bothered, and you know what? Your defense stinks. And you got run out of the building, and Mike White didn't look all that good against a Bills defense that's the number 1 defense in the National Football League. We went through it. Any way you cut it, even without Edmonds, their best overall linebacker. And Mike White didn't look good. Mike White looked scared. Mike White looked nervous. Mike White, you saw the issues with his deep downfield throwing. So you mean to tell me I'm going to roll out Joe Flacco now when Zach Wilson is not 100% healthy? Because he can deal with the blitzes of the Miami Dolphins a little bit better than Mike White can? Are we serious here? And it was Robert Saleh who said, wow, everybody that is off the Mike White bandwagon just as quickly as you were on, now you're off of it after the Bills game. Yes, because he was terrible. But he wasn't just terrible. Mike White gave that entire coaching staff coverage for the better part of 2 weeks. They've been awful. Saleh's been terrible. Was it not the stories that were being written that Mike Floor is now unlocked? Unlocked. LaFleur in this offense, that was not Mike White, right? I read those stories. Whiz kid, boy genius, all of these things. Look at how this offense needs to be run. Zach Wilson needs to go out there, run this offense more like Mike White. And now you're running Flacco out there, unless White is hurt. I haven't heard that. I mean, Mike White was healthy enough to go back into the game Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, was he not? Pete, Mike White is healthy, correct?
Yes, he's actually very healthy.
Yeah, he's healthy. Mike White is healthy. And you're going to roll Joe Flacco out there? Why do I need to see Joe Flacco? Really, honestly. This is not the Ravens. We've already seen this story. We saw it a year ago. I know you didn't think of much of Mike White as an organization. That's why you traded for Flacco. And he surprised you. Roll White back out there again. Why do you need to see Joe Flacco? What are you going to tell Zach Wilson? Now you need to run this offense like Joe Flacco runs this offense? You need to be more like Joe. Less like Mike. More like Mike in the Cincy game, less like Mike in the Buffalo game, and a lot like Joe in the Miami game. Got it, Zach? This is where the criticism of the Jets, and I get it's the quarterback, and there are bigger issues. I understand that. The coaching staff is a big issue. The inexperience is a big issue. The preparedness of this team, the fact that they're not getting better week in and week out. Listen, I dumped on Rex Ryan yesterday because of the fictitious claims that people were comparing him and Robert Saleh as defensive coordinators and don't ever compare me to Saleh. All of that stuff. Nonsense. Give Rex credit. He did a nice job of getting himself into the papers and making himself relevant, but, I mean, it's a nonsensical comment. The criticism of the Jets, as I mentioned a little bit yesterday and hit upon it here once again, is this. Team's not getting better. Team is not getting better. So we saw Mike White for 5 quarters play great. We saw White against the best defense in the National Football League play really, really bad. And now you're going to give the Jet fan Joe Flacco against the Miami Dolphins this week. I mean, are you going to burn those Mike White jerseys now? What about if you bought Mike White rookie cards? What the hell do you do with them now? Like, what do you do with them? Is that like a fire sale right now on eBay? Trying to get rid of those things? Like, you almost feel bad. Like, you look at it while Joe Douglas like, yeah, listen, we gave up a 6th-round pick. Joe's got to play. It's not even a matter of playing Wilson. Play Mike White. Throw him to the Wolves. Who cares? Now, you might make the same argument about Flacco, but who the hell wants to see Joe Flacco at quarterback? Who wants to see that? The answer is nobody. Outside the Flacco family circle, the answer to that is nobody. So here's where we are. Here is where we are, and this is where New York football is. I mean, Linsanity lasted 3 weeks. The Mike White fame lasted a couple. And now the Jets are going to announce, and Saleh will make it official after the Samini report that came out about 15 minutes ago, that Joe Flacco, because of his ability to handle the pressure and the blitz-crazy Miami Dolphins defense, is now going to be starting against the Fish. Great. Valley Stream. John, the fan. What's up, John?
Hey, Moose. How are you?
I'm doing well, Johnny. How are you?
First of all, it's a joke that Joe Flacco is starting this week. I want to know what you think about it.
John, I agree with you. I don't want to see Joe Flacco. The Jets should never have traded for Joe Flacco. I don't need to see ordinary Joe. I really don't. Great story. Gambled on himself. Won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Got paid. Joe Flacco. I don't need to see this offense orchestrated by Joe Flacco. I don't need to see him. How about this? Why don't you use the game as learning experience for your young quarterback in Mike White, who's potentially going to be your backup quarterback here in New York? I understand not throwing Zach Wilson out there because he's not 100% healthy.
And give him a chance to beat up on a bad Dolphins team.
Yeah, why not?
What do you think about Zach Wilson and a couple of picks for Deshaun Watson?
No, John, no. You just ruined the entire call. No, I'm not trading for Deshaun Watson. No. John, you started the call off so strong. And then you crashed and burned at the end. No, I don't want Deshaun Watson. Staten Island, Ira. What's going on, Ira?
Hey, Moose. How are you, man?
I'm doing great.
It's amazing. The ineptitude of over the years, and I'm trying to walk a fine line here. I mean, my relationship, and I'll support them forever.
Yeah, you're going to, Ira, there's no bigger Jet fan outside of Beningo than you.
You have to bang your head against the wall with this decision. I mean, do I really want to go out there Sunday and see Flacco? I mean, no disrespect to Flacco, but if Mike White has a broken leg, that's one thing. I'd rather watch him play. I mean, I get it; they're in the business to win ball games, but really, I mean, come on! I mean, this is all about that he has to justify that they picked up his contract and they're paying him. This is what this is all about. And the worst thing, and I'm glad for Mike White, is that he had that 400-yard game against the Bengals, but that bit the Jets and you know what, because they never thought he could play. That's why there was a knee-jerk reaction to sign Flacco like a minute after they found out Wilson was hurt. And now, all of a sudden, White shows that he may just maybe be a capable backup. You're going to give up on the kid and start Flacco because you got the Dolphins coming in with an aggressive defense? I mean, come on. I understand if you start White and he struggles, you want to put Flacco in the second half.
Yeah, fine.
But you can't parade him out there to start off the game on Sunday. But you know what? I don't get paid to make the decisions. I'll go
Yeah,
out
but
there.
Ira, it's a bad decision. Any way you cut it.
It's
I know
a
you love the
horrible-
Jets.
it's
I
a
get it,
horrible-
but let's call it like it is. I mean, it's a terrible
It's a horrible
decision.
decision.
Well,
It's a
what does Joe
horrible
Flacco
decision.
starting against Miami get you? Give Mike White another opportunity to play. I mean, what is it?
I agree.
You're going nowhere. You're not winning football games this year. You're going nowhere. What, to be competitive against Miami? That's what we're looking at here? This is it. You're trying to develop Wilson. You got another opportunity. White captured the imagination of the fan base, stunned you as an organization as the way that you played, and now you're going to go out and revert to Joe Flacco?
No, it's a horrible decision. And even if they win the game, I'll be thrilled they win. But what did I accomplish? I accomplished nothing. I mean, Flacco was. It's crazy. I'll tell you the truth. This is one of the most mind-boggling decisions since the Titan days. This is worse than bringing in Tim Tebow. It is. I just don't get it.
I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand it. Ira, I said it last week that, I thought whether it be physically or mentally, I didn't think Zach Wilson was going to be set and ready to go against the Miami Dolphins. I said last week Mike White was going to really struggle and look bad against the Buffalo Bills. I also said I thought White should start against the Miami Dolphins. And here we are with Joe Flacco. Like, what does that do for you? What is that? You think you're going to rip off some winning streak? I mean, that's really what they're telling you is that obviously the bloom is off the rose of White. They have little to no confidence. They don't trust the offensive line in front. They believe it's going to look really, really bad. And they're tired of looking as bad as they have looked. But the quarterback, it's an issue. The best this offense has looked this year has been when White has been running this offense. That's the best it has looked against the Cincinnati Bengals, who were probably ill-prepared to play that game. But that's the best that this offense has looked. They get a little coverage now with this decision because we're going to be talking about Flacco. We're going to be talking about White. We're going to be talking about Zach Wilson, who's not 100% over that PCL injury. The biggest issue on that team is still the defense. And they don't stop anybody. If they don't have a good game Sunday against Miami, and I think they're probably looking at it saying, well, we're going up against a really bad offense. The defense is going to play a lot better. We can stay in this game. It can be tight. We need a quarterback that's not going to turn the football over. And here is Joe Flacco. Trumbull, Connecticut. Dan, what's up, Danny?
Hey, Moose. I just want to say how absolutely ridiculous this is for Joe Flacco. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the fans at the game here. The Bills had more fans in the stadium than the Jets last week at a home game. And we're about to parade this bum Joe Flacco out onto the field in a season that doesn't matter if we win 4, 5, 6.
Who cares?
We get lucky to get to 6 games. Who cares? Why are we going to show Joe Flacco to this New York fan base that is just dying for a little spark, whether it's Mike White or Zach Wilson? What is Joe Flacco going to do for this organization with a defense this bad and an offense this young? I just don't understand the ridiculousness that goes through this front office of the New York Jets organization. Thanks, Moose.
Yeah, Danny, I don't know. I agree with you. Why not see how White's going to respond after a really bad performance against the Bills? Mind you, he's a scratch golfer, and he's a tremendous athlete, and he's an unbelievable leader. And the Jets wanted to tell everybody and their mother they recognized that last week. Therefore, it did not surprise them what they did against the Cincinnati Bengals. He played poorly against the best defense in the National Football League. All of that, flush it right down the toilet because in steps Joe Flacco. I mean, it's amazing. It was bad during Gase. It's amazing some of the decisions that are going down there in Florham Park. And you have every right to be critical. You really do. Was Wilson, if Flacco plays well against the Dolphins, is Wilson going to come out on Monday and say, I got to start playing more and orchestrate this offense more like Flacco? Got to remember, guys, I'm young. I should still be in college. Miami. Eric, the fan. What's up, Eric?
What's going on, Moose? Hey, I love your enthusiasm. Love the passion, brother.
Thank you,
when
Eric.
at 10 o'clock, when 10 o'clock comes around and that coffee is already done, you give me that extra boost.
You got it, Eric.
Let me talk about the Jets real quick. And it comes from the leadership, Mark. We know this already. You know what I mean? The leadership is a joke, and it comes from the ownership. So what would you expect differently from the New York Jets organization? The only thing us as fans can do, and I know you're a Giants fan, but it's not watch this anymore, not support this anymore, because they just keep on doing the wrong decisions over and over again. I'm going to see Joe Flacco get sacked 6 times on Sunday.
Yeah.
Why should I watch that? Why should I watch that?
Who the hell wants to watch that? At least you'd have something to sell, Eric, if you started White. Now, listen, there are issues to White as his game as a quarterback, and he's not Tom Brady, and he's not Kurt Warner. But I'll give you this. I think the kid deserves another start. I really do. Like, where does Joe Flacco go for you? The season's going nowhere. Like, what does it do for you? Develop the offensive players? I mean, that's what we're doing here. What, so it doesn't look so bad against the Miami Dolphins? Let's see how it looks. Let's see if we can play a competitive football game. I mean, come on now. Come on. The Dolphins went out there and just beat the Ravens. The Jets have given up the last 4 games defensively historic numbers. They've allowed 45, 51 points.
Respect. Mark, did Joe Douglas promise the Eagles that he would play Joe Flacco a couple games because of the draft pick? It doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you. You know, Eric, I agree with you. I was driving down and, because Salah the other day, and Eric, thanks a lot for the call and for the compliment, being locked into the show with Maggie and I each and every day. We appreciate it. I was driving down the west side. I was thinking about, because Salah, I heard Craig and Evan playing back some of his comments on Monday. And when he was asked the question about the quarterback, saying, I haven't even focused in on that Olive announcement on Wednesday. So I was really looking forward to Hoff and I were talking about before the show, 11:35, big announcement. Who's it going to be? If Wilson's healthy, he's going to start. If not, White, whatever it might be. But I always thought that White deserved another start against the Miami Dolphins. Little did I know that, Joe Flacco is going to get the start today. Come on now. What? Why even watch? Really, why even pay attention? You as an organization decide to put all your heads together and say, Mike White, we've seen enough. We'll chastise those for all jumping off the Mike White bandwagon. But here we are as an organization. Joe, lead us. What kind of golf is Mike White going to be playing this afternoon? That was a quick run. That really was. 10:21. Moose and Maggie, the program. Mark Malusis flying solo. 877-337-6666. Flacco and the Jets, the early lead. We'll get into Thor, Epler, some other things as well as we roll along. The big night out for Pete Hoffman out at the Clays as well. We'll hit upon that too.